Okay, so I just took a shower. And I wanted like half bath and and half shower. So I started the shower up, and I was warming up in the vapor mist, and then I took my clothes off and I hit the plug on the thing so that the bathtub would fill up a bit. And I had my hands in the water and my feet in the water, kind of like an animal, kind of like this, where I was like letting my feet and my hands soak in there while the water's hitting my back. And I realized that the temperature of the water was like the water that I was submerged in was very comfortable. It was room temperature. And I felt the way my body felt in it, and it felt uncomfortable to be room temperature for some reason. I don't know. It felt too comfortable when everything matched the same temperature. Like when oil is on your skin, like when you drop oil on you, it's like you don't even tell that the oil's on you unless there's a temperature difference. But if there isn't a temperature difference, it feels strange to be walking around in something like that. And I only noticed that because the heat of the shower was more extreme than the room temperature water, like skin temperature water in the on my hands and feet. And I remember feeling like uncomfortable with room temperature, and I was more comfortable when I could actually feel something on my skin. So I started to drain the bathtub a little bit, but the shower's still going. And then I got really excited about using I use this Old Spice. It's like 2-in-1 or 3-in-1. It's like a conditioning whatever, but it's blue in color because I like the frequency blue. I like it a lot, as you can see. And I started, just putting in the tub, and I'm still standing like a little, or sitting like a little animal, and I'm making bubbles in the water. And then I got excited and I squirted some of my hands. I'm going like this, and I do that where I make like a little bubble, and then I was put it on my hand, and then I play with it like this, and I like separated it and put it back together, and I noticed that it's really warm now. I noticed that when I put the two bubbles together, it's like I put the two bubbles together, and then it's like, like a bubble here and a bubble here. And I noticed that when I looked at it from a side view, I could see like this veil, like yeah, like a veil, you know what I mean? Like if you just have one bubble, you can actually put your finger through it, and it's like just a thin layer, but I could see it through that. And when I pulled it out a little bit, it was like two cones, like that, you know what I mean? But the veil was still there, like a sphincter or something. And in that moment, I realized that looks exactly how I picture the event horizon in a black hole. Except in this manner, I can see the frequencies. And in space, it's like you just see the black there, but I know that there's frequencies in there that our eyes maybe just can't pick up. But like when I pull it apart like that and I saw that, I was like, whoa. Because I know that the smaller things replicate the bigger things, but it's like just another point of view and being able to see it. And in that moment, I got even more excited because I'm like, wow, is that all it is? Like, everyone talks about like the veil and revealing the truth and revelations, and I'm like, wow, I wonder if that's it. Like, it's just a little, you just kind of go through it, something like that. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe like if that's what I'm experiencing when I took a road trip, and I could feel like a total temperature, pressure, frequency difference, even the colors, the saturation, like everything. Everywhere I went, it was like I could feel something totally different. The colors in the sky at night, like everything was totally different. And now when I think about it, I wonder if like, because I keep picturing that event horizon, and I keep intuitively knowing that like maybe we're going through something like that. And I know that the human body has like a lot of different sphincters in it, like 34 or some ridiculous number. And it's like, they talk about the body of Christ, and it's like if the bigger things replicate the Well, it's like these systems, you know, these systems from like just a little cell in your body to the cosmos to right here, right now. All these things operate the same way. It's like it goes into the mouth, and then it goes through the system, and then it goes all the way out of your body. And it's like, I wonder if we're going into another system, or it's like a circulating system, because we're going through this black hole swirl. It's like we're going through a sphincter or something, you know what I mean? And maybe that's what I felt when I was actually going through the United States, and I've never felt anything like that before, considering I had just gone on that same trip only a couple weeks ago. You know, like within a matter of 3 months, I took this road trip twice, so I could tell the difference just by following my heart and going out there. And now, when I play with the bubbles, I was like, whoa, I wonder if that's what it is, you know what I mean? But this is like a simplified version for me to understand what the big picture looks like and why I can experience that on this level right here. And you know, my mom kept telling me, you know, that like on the other side, she kept telling me, she's like, look, you just need to pick a location and just stay in that location right now. She's, you know, and I couldn't understand what she meant, but now that I tried that and I experienced it this last time, and I was like so uncomfortable, and I, you know, she had to help me the whole way because there was like certain moments where it was like way too much going on. And I realized, I was like, wow, I wonder that's probably the reason why she told me, look, just stay in one location, because it's like everyone stays in their own location. And if you stay in your own location, you like move through the system easier because you adjust to your own frequencies in your own location, because you're moving through this body, this cosmological body, and you can adjust easier when you're in your own realm, when you're in your own section, like food moving through your system, you know? It's like we're being released from that body into like something else. I don't really know. Maybe we're just going through another sphincter or something, but yeah, I'm wondering about that, because there's definitely a connection there, you know, because you can see certain pictures in the cosmos, like you can see one that looks kind of like a face, that looks sort of like a monkey, like that kind of, and there's another one where it looks like an eyeball, and then, you know, they're like, there's one that looks like kind of like a cat, and it's sort of like pouncing like this, and then it's like the finger of God or something. I forget. It looks kind of like that. It's like Eagle Nebula or something. And then there's another one looks sort of like a dragon. It's like that, and it's like the hands coming up like this, and this is coming down like that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I wonder if like that's just a bigger picture of like what we experience here, but we're experiencing it on a different level. Like we're experiencing going through a human body while we also have human bodies. I think that's really cool, and I think the reason why things are happening the way that they are now is because of the different frequency changes of going through this system and going into like another system. And maybe that's the reason why I could pick up on that just by going on a road trip. It's because like this system is moving through something. You know, maybe that we're going through that bubble, and that, like, you know, that veil, that sphincter, like going through it. Maybe that's the reason why I felt like this water. You know what I mean? Like this water or whatever. Okay, so maybe that's the reason why the Bible talks about the water will recede. You know, like the days of Noah or whatever. It says in the beginning, it talks about Noah and how like the days of the end will be like the days of Noah. What else? Also, okay, so I realized that the room temperatures, you know, in the bottom of the bathtub was really weird, but I plugged it again, and I just kept it there, and, you know, that's when I was playing with the bubbles, and I noticed that when I saturated my hands with these chemicals, with this, you know, the blue frequencies, and I went like this, and I went like that, and I put my hands in there, I realized that whatever chemical reaction, whatever whatever that chemical reaction is, I put my hands and I submerged it in that water that was at first very uncomfortable. And in that moment I realized that the chemicals make it feel not uncomfortable. My hands, it was like, when I did that, my hands actually had more cardiovascular health. Like my veins started coming out and I felt stronger and more comfortable and warmer. I felt warmer when I used when I had a chemical on my body. So in that moment, I got like super duper excited, of course, because I had been only using water, and I was just, just scrubbing down with like a towel. I mean, like a face cloth, and I didn't use any chemicals because I was like so curious as to what it is about chemicals. Like I had to experiment to figure out what it is about chemicals that people don't like. So I was like trying to be completely chemical free. But it's kind of difficult to be that way when, like, there's these chemtrails and pesticides and there's all these chemicals and stuff like that. And I want to know why people are afraid of chemicals. Like, what's the problem? So yeah, so I finally decided that my hands felt better in room temperature water with the chemicals. So then I washed my whole body in chemicals. I used the same stuff, the same blue stuff, and I washed my body. And it was like immediately my veins started coming out. And it was like I could breathe better, and it was like I was literally feeling these frequencies go back into my body, and it made me feel so much more comfortable. And in that moment I realized that I needed to share this because that's like the individual experience with chemicals. And people are afraid of, or not, I don't know if people are afraid, but they question chemtrails, they question chemicals in general. But when you really think about it, we are all chemicals. I mean, you take a shower in the morning, even if you use something like dial soap or a really simplified soap, it's still a chemical. And whether you put it in your body or outside your body or whether they're spraying it, it doesn't matter. What I realize is that maybe the people that are actually doing the chemtrails and stuff are doing it in certain locations because people aren't using the right frequencies that certain area needs to move through the cosmos. Because I noticed feeling very uncomfortable going through all these locations from here to Sedona, which is almost across the entire U.S., 2,800 miles, and I was only scrubbing my body. I was not using soap, and I felt super uncomfortable. So when I finally made the decision to try out the chemicals to see see if that would make a difference, and really it wasn't even that thought. It was just I was just excited about playing, making more bubbles. And in that moment I realized that it's just for a reason. It's totally for a reason, because now I feel way more comfortable in my own atmosphere. When, I just made a video the other day about how I felt really uncomfortable outside. I felt really uncomfortable. I think that's the difference. I think that we're looking at it the wrong way, and that they're just trying to help us move into another frequency, because there's no way we eat anything without having a chemical reaction. There's nothing here that doesn't have some sort of chemical in it. We got car exhaust, we got power plants, we got, we've got our own excrements. There's no way it's not in the system. Like, it's always been there. It always will be there. There's all these plants that get burned, and it's like it goes up in the atmosphere, and who knows what chemical reaction that makes. I mean, to be quite honest, I think they're trying to help, and we're just looking at it the wrong way. They're just trying to make it easier to, like, move through this system, move through this new frequency. And I didn't realize it until I forced my body to stop accepting it, and then I just got a childlike spirit because I missed, being able to make bubbles and create stuff. And in that moment of curiosity, I totally figured out why chemicals are totally necessary. It's totally necessary. And that's probably why I feel so connected to extraterrestrials, and why I always refer to them as my star family, because the blue and the blue pyramid, and I just choose blue stuff to clean with, and I don't even do it on purpose. It's like I'm just attracted to it. My ear just rang. I'm just attracted to it, and I never thought about it. It was totally intuitive. And then I think about the baths I took as a child, and I would just like mix every concoction of chemical you can imagine. So excited right now. Any chemical you can imagine, and I never thought about it. So it's like I literally embody all these chemicals. Maybe that's the reason why chemicals never bothered me. But when I started to reject the chemicals, just so I could try it again to see what the big deal is, I realized that it's totally necessary to move through whatever frequency we're going through. Because I feel so much better now than when I did before. I felt like erratic and lethargic without the chemicals. I think that's interesting. It's like one way or another, you know? Either you eat the chemicals, you bathe in the chemicals, or you're gonna, we're breathing into it. There's constantly chemicals. And when you just look at it in a positive way, it like completely changes the picture for you. And if you try to reject it, it's almost like you're rejecting your own system. You're rejecting your own Mother Earth and all the different frequency changes that we make every day. You know, every year the pumpkin season's so awesome because they constantly come up with like all these other pumpkin products, and I'm like super excited that things renew all the time, because then it's like another change. It's another change into something else, and it when I look at the frequencies of pink, and I think when I think of pink, I think of like, it's like a pink purple. I think of like love, but I also think of excitement when I think of like that magenta purple that's on this bag. And the orange, I always think of, sexuality, but it's like this sort of neon color that makes it really exciting. And my mom was talking to me about bioluminescence, and I've always enjoyed bioluminescence. There's something really magical about how, fish, and they can just illuminate in the dark. And I know that the Bible talks about, something about there will be light in the people, and I don't know exactly. I don't know if anybody's like a Bible buff, but I think that's interesting that it talks about when the lights go out, people will be able to be seen. And I'm like, I wonder what that means. And now looking at this bioluminescence and the frequencies, I mean, who knows? Who knows what we'll be able to see if the lights go out, And that's probably the reason why it's like it's like I don't even sleep that much. It's like I'm awake during the night, and if I do sleep, it's a few hours, and it's like these intense dreams, and I wake up feeling like $1,000,000, and it's like I'm so excited to go outside and see the changes, because every day I'm seeing I'm seeing pictures in the clouds, I'm seeing color, I'm seeing more saturation in the trees, and it's so exciting. I'm literally like playing with reality by watching everything change and being totally positive about it. Okay, and what else I did? Okay, what else I did was, once I did that, I got even more excited, of course. And then I was making more bubbles. Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think of that. It's like a sphincter, right? I was blowing through, and then it creates a bubble. Put it on here, and I realized, my mom was talking to me about this location being like a centerpiece or something like that, like the beginning or something. And I always picture like it coming down like this, like a bubble in the center. And then I was like, because in my other video I talk about the planets, like how I wish that everything can be together, and there, the many mansions in my house, and it's like there's the centerpiece, and then you've got, here I drew a picture, you got the 9 planets. I mean, there's more, but I picture that. I picture like the centerpiece, and then like a planet here, like that, so that everyone can just go wherever they want without like having to go really, really far away, like how I was traveling from my location here all the way to Arizona. And it's like, man, it's so far. Why can't it be in a circle so that we can just go from one point? You know what I mean? Why not, right? And then, oh yeah, so I started like adding more bubbles, but like little bubbles, and I'd blowing, and then put it down here, and then put another one here, and I was like, they were nothing but like veils, and they all attached to each other like perfectly. And I was looking at it and I was like, wow, it's totally possible. This is totally possible that that can actually happen. And maybe that's the reason why it talks about, like, he's got the whole world in his hands, like the hands of God. Like, I'm literally sitting in the tub and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I wonder if he did the same thing. Like, maybe there's a giant bathtub up there and he's out there, maybe he's like playing with bubbles. Like, what? Like, I'm sitting there in this awesome moment thinking, I'll bet he does the same thing. I think that's really cool. Crap. I had more to say. I got lost in that moment. Um, Bubbles, frequency. Oh, yeah. And also, what this moment reminded me of, which just happened about 20 minutes ago, is I had this dream. How long ago was it? You know what? I wrote it down. One second. Putting anticipation. Sorry. Okay. It was... Okay, it was this one. I had a dream June 29th, 2014. And I wrote down, make note of this dream. And it's like, I think I might have made a video about this, but I'm just going to recap the beginning of it. And I was in an observatory in this dream. This was June 29th of this year. I was in an observatory, something about calculations and about foam/bubbles. There weren't enough bubbles, but I didn't have enough time to make more. And this is the picture that I drew. Right there. Because that's what it looked like. I remember standing. I'm like standing in this observatory and I'm looking at these bubbles like this in my hand and I'm like, I'm rushing. I'm like really, really rushing and I'm like, I remember feeling panicked. There weren't enough molecules or bubbles or whatever. And and I think that's what it meant. Like, I'm realizing now, I think that's what it meant when I was in the bathtub. I remember looking at, like, my hands and looking at the foam and knowing that, feeling the chemicals and the bubbles, you know what I mean, and then putting them in room temperature made my entire body feel so much better. And I would not have known that had I not completely rejected those chemicals. I wouldn't know it until I did that. I couldn't tell the difference until I stopped and then it started again. And I think this is the reason why I had this dream. That is so wild, right? So, yeah. Alright, well, I think that's all I have for now. So, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that rejecting the chemicals is probably not the best idea, because I experienced that it made me very uncomfortable when I was trying to not have chemicals. But once I put them on me, I was totally fine. I was way more comfortable. So that's basically all I was trying to say. Wow, that's wild. Okay, thank you for watching.